Hello and welcome back to the Ruby Beginner series. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at looping through something a set number of times. In the previous video, we had this while loop where we covered doing something an unknown number of times, like maybe having a user enter their favorite color. Today, we're going to take a loop at a different example. This is going to be a situation where, let me just move into this actual project, where we want to do something, let's say 5 times. So let's say I want to print out happy birthday 5 times. So I'll just come over here. I'll write a comment that says, I want to print happy, let's say happy birthday 5 times. Okay. So how do I do this? Well, I could start by just saying puts happy birthday. And then I could just grab this, copy it, and I could paste it 2, 3, 4, 5, right? If we run this with main.rb, we'll see it gets printed out 5 times. Now, of course, that's ridiculous. I don't want to do it like that. What else could we do? Well, we could say counter is equal to 0. And then we could say while counter is less than 5, we want to puts happy birthday, and then we can increase counter. We can go ahead and we can run this again, and we can say, well, look at that. We did it 5 times. The issue with this is, although we have less repeated code than we did here, we're still declaring a counter, we're then comparing a counter, we're then putsing the birthday, and then we're increasing the counter. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm a very lazy man. I don't want to do it like this. Instead, what I want to do is I want to just do this 5 times. So in other languages, this would be a lot more complicated, but in Ruby, we can actually just type 5.times do end, and then in here, we can just put whatever we want. So we'll say 5 times print hello or print happy birthday. Let's go ahead and let's run this. And you can see that prints 5 times. If we want to change this to, let's say 3 times, we can do that, save it, come over here, run it, it prints 3 times. So this is very helpful. But let's say you want to do something with the number each time. So maybe you want to say like puts happy birthday, you are let's say 3 years old, right? If we do this, we can say you are 3 years old, but maybe we want to go through here and like when it's 0, we want to say you are 0 years old. When it's 1, you are 1 years old, etc. How do we do that? Well, we can take this, let's comment this out. Let's come down here and let's just type this again. What we can actually do after the do block is inside of these weird vertical pipes. This is the key above your enter key or below your backspace if you're using like a English QWERTY keyboard. You can put between there a random variable, whatever you want to call it. You could call this apple cart, you could call it counter, you could call it index, you could call it test case 43 or something. But this variable here is now assigned to whatever this number is each time through the loop. So right here where we had a counter where we could print out each time what the counter was, we can do the same thing here. We can say the counter is, and then inside of our little symbol thing, we can once again just put in that variable. Now if we run this, we'll run this 3 times. And we can see here the counter is 0, the counter is 1, and the counter is 2. So just like how we started with the counter at 0 here, it's doing the same thing under the hood. And you'll notice this in wide variety of programming languages that things usually start at 0. There's some quirky languages that will not be named that prefer to start things at 1. And it's usually a point of contention because most languages start things at 0. The reason for that is people get bored and then they get really defensive about their board decisions. So we now just live in a world where things are 0-based for the most part. Of course, if you're using, I think, something like MATLAB, that'll probably start at 1 just because mathematicians don't want to deal with computer science nonsense, right? But okay, this now gives us access to this counter. Are there other ways that we could do this? Well, sure. We could take this and we could say, let's say we don't want to go from like 0 to 3 here. We want to go from 7 until 11, right? For that, we can open up some parentheses and we can do 7 ... 11. Then we can come outside of the parentheses, do a dot each again, and then we can do our counter, just like we did before. And then we could say the counter is counter. we'll now run this program and we can see the counter is 7, which is our starting number, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that includes the last number. So this right here is 5 numbers because from 7, including 7 to 11 is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? But what happens if we want to exclude one of these? Well, to do that, we can move this from a double dot to a triple dot. And now if we run this, we can see we go 7, 8, 9, 10. So maybe that's more of an intuitive way to think about it. You can also always adjust your starting number if you want this to be higher or lower. Maybe you want this to start at 8 instead. We can then run this, and now you can see 8, 9, 10 because we're not including 11. So let's just copy this and paste this, and then we'll just comment these each. So we'll say this one does not include 11. And we'll say this, let's do this range goes from 8 to 10. Does not include 11. And then right here we can say this range goes from 8 to 11. This one does include 11. Again, all of this code will be available on GitHub. I'll have a link in the video description. And the reason why I'm adding all of these comments is so that you can go back and you can take a look at all of these code snippets to see sort of what we did to get to these points. But why are things like this useful? Well, there's going to be a point where we have some type of data. Maybe it's a list of all of your users, and you want to go through each of those users and do something for that user. Maybe for each user, you need to generate, I don't know, some kind of invoice, or you need to send out the annual happy birthday card because you're a car insurance company and you do that for some reason. Then what you would say, instead of from like 8 until 11, you do like from your first user to your last user, send out the weird little birthday card for the insurance company, right? Maybe that's just an American thing. I don't know, but it's really weird that they do that. So that's where you might use a loop like this, because it doesn't really make sense to do it for the while loop. I guess you could say while there's still a user that we haven't emailed or mailed this card to, continue to do this. But it probably makes more sense to do it this way. And this is where we're going to move over to the concept of arrays in the next video, because those are really going to allow us to have something where we can, go through each item in a list and do like some action on that item. Maybe we print the item, maybe we change the item, or we send out a weird insurance card. But for now, this is going to be where I leave you, because I think arrays are better suited in their own topic video. So let's go ahead and let's just call it here.